Yes, it's here. Pacific University. Go Boxers. Shout out. I'm B Minor.
I'm the X Factor reporting live from beautiful Chicago, Illinois.
Checking in. We're going to make it probably a half-hour episode tonight. I got practice, so I get to be in the gym tonight. 10 guys. Everybody's in masks, but still better than not being in the gym. But we got a world-class trainer, basketball guy. I followed him on Instagram for quite a while and have just really seen a lot of the stuff he's doing to get players better. So I've always wanted to get to connect with you, Travis. So I appreciate you taking some time and hopping on and chopping it up with us.
No, thank you guys. No, I really appreciate it. Looking forward to it.
It'll be fun. So maybe will you start out by giving us kind of a little background on you, where you went to high school, grew up, and then kind of how you've journeyed to where you are now as an NBA pro trainer?
Yeah, so I kind of have a little bit of a unconventional story when it comes to stories. So out of high school, I had some opportunities to play Division II, Division III basketball, NAIA, whatever. Decided to forego doing that and actually went to a leadership college in Sydney, Australia, to pursue like a career in ministry. So I want to be like a youth pastor or a worship pastor. I was there for about 7 months or so. Then decided, I was like, you know what? I missed the game of basketball. Like I want to hoop again. So the game kind of called me back. And when I got back, I ended up going to a D3 school in Minneapolis, Minnesota, called North Central University. So I went there for 3 years. While I was there, scored 1,000 points while I was there, got all conference awards all 3 years there. While I was there, right, this kind of adds to my unconventional story. I actually got married my sophomore year while I was there. And then while I was at school, it's kind of where I built the passion for player development and training. I met one of my really good friends. His name is Chauncey Hollingsworth. He has a training company called Hoops in Christ. So if any of you guys are in the area in Minneapolis, definitely check them out. What they do is it's obviously basketball training, but it's more than just basketball. And I think that's really important because at the end of the day, we stopped playing basketball. It's still a part of us, but we need to be a person, right? We still need to be a good person. So we like to incorporate the faith aspect and the mentorship side of life as well. But anyway, so after that, I had an opportunity to go overseas to China to train at a training facility, working with professional players in the CBA. If you don't know what the CBA is, that's the Chinese Basketball Association. Wow, words are hard. Association. So like there's a lot of good players like Brandon Jennings, Stephon Marbury, who have played in the NBA, who have gone to play over there. So it's a really competitive league. While I was there, made connections, and the guy that owns that gym, he is one of the top agents out there. So we were playing like ones and like doing 5-on-5 and stuff like that with like some of those players. And he was like, you know what? I think I could actually get you a playing gig over here. So I was like, all right, cool. Let's go for it. So I played a little bit professionally over there. And then through that, made more connections and had an opportunity to get a head player development coaching job with a professional team over there. So that led from one thing to another. And then while we were over there, my wife got pregnant. So we were in Minneapolis at the time. And when she got pregnant, I had another gig coming up to go back to China for coaching for player development. And then we decided to move from Minneapolis to Sioux Falls because that's where her family is. And we're like, you know what, we need to, get help just with, raising a kid because we didn't have family in Minneapolis. So that's what led us to Sioux Falls. After I was done doing player development in China, I decided, or I had an opportunity to apply for a job with the Sioux Falls Skyforce in the NBA G League, which is affiliated with Miami Heat. And so I applied for it, got it. So this past year I was with the Miami Heat G League team doing basketball operations. And then with the whole COVID thing, I mean, I think a lot of us are experiencing it just with seasons getting canceled short and stuff like that, our season got cut short. So then I was like, you know what, this is a good time to go back to school and finish up my degree. So currently, that's what I'm doing until the Skyforce season starts this year. So again, that was kind of long-winded, but just a very unconventional story of how I got to where I am.
How amazing is it where life takes you, man? I mean, you tried to get away from the game of basketball. The game of basketball said, listen, we're not done with you and you're not done with me either. Yeah. Come back from D3 to, over 1,000 points, like you said. Now you're in professional player development. You're talking about players like Brandon Jennings, Starberry, man, like people that people grew up and loved and idolized, yeah. including me. I didn't get to grow up watching Stephon Marbury, but, obviously those highlights are sick.
Yeah, it's unreal. It's just crazy where the game will take you.
How old's your kid now, Travis?
Yeah, so he is just turned 2 in July. So we've already started, some basic footwork training, and he's got his little tight hoop. So we're working on his shot a little bit.
Started off young. I love it.
Yeah.
That's great, man. Well, I love that story though about like Ponce said about, not basketball, you're still involved in it. And I think what you're doing, I love the faith component, of it, because, one of my favorite quotes, basketball's good, not God.
Right.
Two O's, good, not God, with a capital G, or gods, whatever it is somebody worships, right? But for me, basketball is not as important. It's the greatest game, but it's a game.
Yep, for sure.
And at the end of the day, you're going to have to I want to be known as more than just a basketball. I want to be a good dad, a good husband, more than I want to be a good basketball anything.
For sure. Absolutely.
Well, I know like Caleb's from Hawaii, young hooper. Will's a hooper that's in grad school. Got some awesome stuff going on. But would you give us some advice on things you can think of that kids should be focusing on? Because I see some guys, I don't know if with multiple tennis balls and cones, or if you think like, just what do you think kids should be doing more development wise?
Yeah, for sure. So there's 3 things that I like to focus on, even with my players at high levels, and it's all that I would consider fundamental stuff. And I think when people hear the word fundamental, they think easy, right? That, it's fundamental, it's easy. But I don't think that's always the case. When I hear fundamental, I think of, foundational, right? That's a building block, like how you build your game. So like the 3 things that I would say for kids and just players in general to work on is going to be your angles. I think that's a huge one. Learning how to attack a closeout, right? Because that all has to do with angles, right? Reading that high foot and how they're, closing out, like angles are so important. So that would be one thing. Another one is a big one is footwork, because footwork is what opens your game. It's what gets you from point A to point B, right? So when you combine footwork with your angles, right, that's what really can start to, separate you, right? Because having the ability to create space, to go into space, right, cutting off a defender, going away from a defender to get onto a shot or to create an advantage for a teammate, those are all things that are, I would say fundamental, but, everybody needs to work on. And then the last thing would be like a change of pace. I think change of pace is probably one of the harder things to teach, because a lot of kids, they either just have it, or they don't, but it can be taught. So I think if you combine those 3 things, that's like a great formula to add to kids and just players in general, right? Because when you go the same speed, right, you're predictable, right? So we want to learn to be unpredictable, right? So like, for example, like a player like Russell Westbrook, right, who's really, really fast. If he were to go the same speed every time, even if I'm slower than him, I can still like mathematically like learn to cut him off at a certain spot. You know what I mean? So, but because he has speed and he can use that change of speed, he's crazy hard to guard. So Yeah, I mean, I would say those are the top 3 things that I would work on with kids and just players in general.
Man,
I
that's
think
so
you're
important.
right on, man. I'm gonna go real quick. I think footwork and angles. I think of Scottie Pippen right away.
Yeah.
Just because I think he was long, but I think his ability to use the angles to get a deflection or to get a steal.
Absolutely.
Same thing with Stockton, John Stockton.
Yeah, for sure.
With the angles he'd use off that pick and roll. There's only a certain number of ways you can defend a pick and roll.
Yep.
So for him coming off there looking for an angle and footwork off screens, I think, guys that are good shooters, you see them do the footwork early.
Yep.
And just pivots. I coach college men's basketball, and I have kids right now that I'm trying to teach what a reverse pivot is.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is going on?
It's crazy because even like with my experience with like higher level players, like you'd be surprised how much that like they don't know the fundamentals because they've gotten by for years on just their athleticism and their speed or their strength. They've had that X factor that has, allowed them to get to this level. But, their weaknesses really start to show when you get to that higher level and you've, skipped those fundamental or foundational steps. So it's like even at the pro level, like you see that stuff too.
I think we should give you bonus points too because you just said X factor.
I did that just for you.
And I appreciated that. But so another point that I wanted to bring up is that when you said angles and change of speed, that is so important, everybody listening, because me growing up, I was strictly, and I used to work my tail off in the gym, and I was strictly a shooter because I didn't understand those two things. I mean, I was doing the cone drills and I was, I could dribble between my legs and stuff, but I wasn't going anywhere. And if you're not going anywhere, you're not going to get anywhere. The defender is going to stand right in front of you. You're going to be doing all your little fancy stuff, whatever, Chris Paul, whatever, and you're not going to be going anywhere. When I actually started making a difference on the court, besides just my shooting, standing in the corner and going from wing to wing and seeing if I could get up a couple shots, was when I started learning about angles, this and that.
Yep.
Hey, I'm going to attack you. If your foot is up like this, I'm going to attack you this side,
Yep, exactly.
And all those different things and intangibles, they're so, so, so important. So if you're listening, do not take that advice for granted.
Yeah, for sure. And going off of that, I think one of the mistakes that some people make when they work out is kind of like what you were saying, like you were working on all these moves at cones, right? For me, I don't teach moves because I find it a little bit useless. Like for me, I want to teach reads, right? So we'll get to a certain type of footwork, but from there it's a read, right? So depending on how my defender's guarding me, am I going to blow by? Am I going to attack that high foot and cross over, or am I going to step into space and shoot it? So it's not about, for player development and, to really get better, it's not about moves per se. It's about, reads, and having that footwork to get to different spots on the floor.
And everybody nowadays wants to dribble a billion times. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the street ballers or the people in the league, the point guard is doing this, but everybody, all the kids, they want to sit there and dribble a billion times and not go anywhere. Like, dude, you got one effective rip through and dribble is going to be a lot more effective than 18 behind the backs in the same spot. I promise.
But it doesn't look good for the IG though.
Yeah, that's true. It does not look good. Maybe I'm wrong, everybody.
You're an old soul though, man. You're definitely, there's a lot of kids that are in college that still think that they will need to take 10 dribbles to get to the cup. And it's crazy, but I always like this quote, game speed, because everybody says go game speed. Game speed's not one speed. Game speed is not one speed. Game speed is changing speeds, going fast, going slow. How fast can you go from 100% down to 10%
Absolutely.
to 90%? Changing a pace is so important. So I can't emphasize that enough. And I love that you said footwork, change of pace. And the angles. That's, if you're taking notes, Caleb, I know you like to take notes. You're a sharp kid. Get those 3 things down and work on them. I see you taking notes. So I think that's great advice there, Coach.
I appreciate it.
And tell us a little bit about your experience with the G League. How was that? How did it differ maybe from like the Chinese Basketball Association?
Yeah. So my experience was, really good. I think, so when I was in China, it was like specifically like a player development coaching job. So like I was literally just doing skills. Now with like the G League, because like staffs are a little bit smaller, you get the opportunity to see, you know, different sides of an organization. So for example, like I was doing anything from, you know, scouting to video, to, you know, on the court scout team, to a little bit of, you know, player development, you know, so it's like you get to see so many different angles, you know, from even like booking tickets for flights and stuff like that. So it's like you get to see a lot more of, you know, what it looks like to, you know, actually run an organization. That's kind of what I took out of it, you know, from this year.
Do you think you'll be, I mean, I know you're going to school. What are you studying in school, Travis?
Yeah, so right now I'm at the University of Sioux Falls finishing up my degree in sport management.
Oh, wow. Awesome. That'll be useful. I mean, it sounds like that's something that interests you. Is that what you're looking to do maybe long term?
Yeah, long term, you know, I'm not really it's not that I don't have like goals and dreams, like specific ones, but you know, for me, I just want to be around, you know, the game of basketball. So like I feel like my calling, like my purpose on life is just to be, you know, influential. So if I can, you know, influence the people around me, like doing the things that I love. So, you know, basketball is a passion of mine. So if I can stay around the game, and just influence and impact, like for me, that's enough. Like, so it doesn't matter if I'm working as a second grader, with NBA guys, dudes overseas. I just want to be around the game. So that's just kind of honestly, where I'm at.
That's beautiful, man. It's such a beautiful game. And I mean,
It,
people, I mean, this is a phrase that people use. It's a beautiful game, but this game has taken me and so many people, so many different places. Places that, you know, you would never think that you would see, arenas that, like you said, Sioux Falls. I have no business ever being in Sioux Falls, but I've been to Sioux Falls because I played in the tournament there. If
right.
I never was introduced to the game of basketball, there's probably, and it's a beautiful place. Unfortunate on my part, but there's probably no way that I would ever go there.
No, I never thought in a million years that I'd be living in South Dakota. Like it would have been probably on one of the last states that I would have chose.
But it's nice though, right?
Yeah,
Sioux
it's
Falls
nice.
in particular.
Yeah. So, but here I am. So
And that's where your wife's family's from?
yeah, so her family is from Northwest Iowa, but it's like 30 minutes away from Sioux Falls. So yeah, we get to see her family a lot. So it's cool.
Good people out there, man. And I ate a great steak. Excellent steak out in Sioux Falls.
Yeah, where was that at?
I don't remember, but it was an incredible place. I went there right after a game with my parents, and I was like,
Yeah.
ooh, this is fire. And that's what I remember Sioux Falls for.
There you go.
That's awesome, man. Well, I know I want to respect everybody's time tonight. I know I'm stoked. I get to get back in the gym. We got 10 kids, but it's still better than nothing. I'm just stoked to be back around our guys and being able to be inside. I've been doing some stuff outside on some courts, playgrounds, parks, but getting back in a gym, it was just a pretty awesome experience last night to feel that first time of a season again, because I know we've been going through a lot. Everybody has this last 6 months, 8 months, or I mean, I don't even know how long it's been, but too long. It had been too long since I had been in the gym, so it felt great. But Travis, it was awesome to connect with you, man. I love what you're doing. I know I can speak for the X Factor. I'll let him speak too, because I hate to speak too much for him. But I know that we appreciate you being on, man, and getting the chance to chat with you and hear your story a little bit, and keep serving. I love that I think I'm similar. I don't have like, oh, I'm going to be a head college coach in 5 years, you know, but keep making the best decisions you can every day. And I'm a believer that good things happen to good people and that you'll end up where you're supposed to be. But I know it's nice having a little one to be in close to the in-laws for sure.
For sure. Absolutely.
Well, X, what do you got? Give us something here.
No doubt. So I just want to say, reinstate Travis. It is awesome what the game of basketball has done for you, and you've put in so much work to be where you are today. And check you out, man. You're around, you know, you've been around some of the top talent that even the NBA has seen. You are teaching all the right stuff. I still love what you said about angles and change of pace, because I'm the biggest, firmest believer of that. It is so important. So you're teaching the right stuff. You're getting the right experiences. You're doing amazing things. And, you know, I'm really happy to have connected with you. You know, this is awesome. And we really appreciate you coming on the show and shedding light on your experiences through life.
Yeah, for sure. No, thank you guys for having me. really appreciate it.
Yeah, man. We'll be watching you. Good luck. When do you finish up school? How much longer do you have?
So after this semester, I got like 9 credits left. So I'm not sure if I'll be able to, finish up right away or depending on our Skyforce season. So we'll see.
That's awesome. Well, we end it. Rebecca, Pont, you guys already know what's coming. And if you're going to
walk on.
Let's
Beautiful.
go. Let's
Works like a charm.
Print that. Stop recording.